God did save the best for last. We're so grateful to you today. You know, your worship is a lot like Thai worship. In Thailand, we love to worship enthusiastically, don't we? And in Thailand, there are less than 1% of the population is Christian. You can believe that. It's hard for us in America to understand that. But what it would be like to live in a population with less than 1%. When I say less, I mean less than 1%. But the people are strong in the Lord, and their worship is enthusiastic. And we miss it when we're not there. And we're just so glad to be with you today because your worship reminds us of that. Now, I think Pastor Pat said that, unfortunately, you all don't let the youth lead the worship every Sunday. You should. You really should, okay? Oh, boy. Well, today we do have with us a special family. When we left here, we left a church family. We were members at Iron Bridge across the way over here, and that was our church family, been loved by people and just really nurtured in the faith and sent out to the mission field. And when we got to Thailand, we had to look for another family. And we looked around for a while, and we finally found this little church tucked in this side street under the SkyTrain. Now, the SkyTrain in Bangkok is this above-ground, elevated train that you have to ride to get to places. And if you didn't have it, you couldn't get there. You know, traffic would take you 5 hours to go a mile. But the SkyTrain gets you there quicker. And so we found Prakanong Church. And at Prakanong Church, we found this family. I'm going to ask Pastor Warsis to come in to greet you, just to let you see a real Thai person. And he's going to be taking notes, and everything I say about Thailand, he's going to make sure that I'm correct about it, you know, because sometimes in a preacher way, I do get to exaggerating things, but he's here today to keep me comfortable. So would you welcome Ajahn Warsit to come in? Now, are you tired yet? Not yet. This is his third worship service today, and the third time to bring greetings. So we've kept him busy today, and but we're just so glad that you're here. And do you know, today's his birthday. Can you sing happy birthday to him? Let's stand and sing happy birthday. Okay. Who can lift it up? Nobody. Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Great. Oh, wow. Okay. And I want these three ladies right here to stand up and turn around. You know, when they entered the country, the beauty quotient of America just increased right here. First one is Dang. She's Ajahn Warsis' wife. I call her my little sister, and she calls me big brother. And standing next to her is Ren. Everybody in Thailand basically goes by their nicknames, but Ren is a second-year medical student, and standing next to her is Dang's sister-in-law, and her name is Gung. And she's a nurse in Thailand. Thank you very much. And I also want my wife, Wanda, to stand. She didn't get a chance to stand and let you see her. She's always the better half of our couple, I guess you'd say. So, Pastor, would you like to come right here to this microphone and just say a word of welcome to them and tell them that if they come to Bangkok and work with us at Prakanong Baptist Church to reach the lost of Thailand, it will change their lives.
Thank you, Dr. Ned. And I would like to say good morning, everybody. If you go to Bangkok, easy to go to our church because we have a rail station there in Thong Lo.
Yes.
Not so far from the station. Thank God for Dr. Ned and Wanda, that Baptist Church in the States sent them to our country. And he very useful for our Baptist Association Church in Thailand. Now we have a member, about 100 churches, Baptist Church in Southern Baptist Church in our association, and we all work together. On my church, we also have a daughter church in the south, one in the south and one in the east. And when we go back next month with Net, we try to have one daughter church in northeast. That's last month we go there for visit, and we have some believer there. Please pray for us. And in our church, I think God blessed us a lot in the last 2 years. We have many new believers come to our church. And last Christmas, I gave more than 20 adults accept Christ by personal on that day, and we also have about 92 children accept Christ on that day.
Thank you. Anything else? I mean, I know you were struggling in English, but if you want to say something in Thai, and I'll translate it for you. Anything else you want to say? No.
Let's pray for us.
Okay. Thank you. And Pastor Pat, we just finished a building program at Prakanong Baptist Church. God is blessing us there. You said something you may regret. He said, take all the time you need. Now, these kind folks here verify that when I stand up in Thailand to preach, people expect me to go at least an hour. They don't want you to give them a small portion. But we won't do that today, because we are trying to be, as we are in Bangkok, we're trying to be appropriate to the culture. We're trying to be appropriate to your culture here as well. But I thought about this passage from the 4th chapter of Philippians when I thought about you all today. We have really appreciated, by the way, the use of your mission house. I don't know who renovated that and appropriated everything and bought everything, but it is wonderful. We love being there, and if you can catch us there, you're welcome to come by and chat with us as well. We are often not there, but if you can. And we also want to thank you for your gifts to the cooperative program and the Lottie Moon Christmas offering. We live in a house that was built with Lottie Moon Christmas offering. I teach at a seminary that's going to be 60 years old very soon. Now, 60 years ago, I was just I have to say I was a young baby. I was around. I was around 60 years ago. This seminary was built with Lottie Moon Christmas offering, and every day I go to work, I recognize the sacrificial giving of Southern Baptists to keep your missionaries, 5,000 of us strong around the world, because you, as well as we do, believe that a disciple of Christ is someone who keeps Christ's commandments. In Matthew chapter 28, Jesus said, "Go into all the world and teach them and baptize them and teach them to observe all that I have commanded." And his commandment is plain: we are to go. His strategy for us is that we win the people in our neighborhood, in our state, in our country, and we continue until the whole world has heard the gospel. And I'm so glad that you're a part of that. And I hope after today you'll want to see your missions in action and come and work with us in Thailand. It's not for the faint-hearted. It takes, from the time we leave the Richmond airport to the time we land at the airport in Bangkok, it's usually 24, 25 hours. So it's not for the faint-hearted. The weather is always hot, but it's for those who love the Lord and do want to obey His commandments. Well, I started to say I thought of you when I read the 4th chapter of Philippians, verse 10, which it says, I rejoice in the Lord greatly, but now that you've been revived, you're concerned from me indeed. You were concerned before, but you lacked opportunity. Paul goes on, for the lack of time, I won't read this, but he goes on to tell them how much he loved them and how much he appreciates what they've done for him, and that he trusts in God to supply all of his needs. And we trust in God to provide all of our needs as well. But he says here, again in verse 10, you lacked opportunity. Now, the opportunity has been there to give. The opportunity has been there to share and to pray. We drive a Lottie Moon car. But you know, it'd be terrible just to drive a Lottie Moon car, live in a Lottie Moon house, and not have the power to do what God's called us to do. And that power comes specifically through your praying. Missionaries often say that they save the most difficult task to do on their birthday time because they know that Southern Baptists have seen their birthday on a list and that they're praying for them. Well, we know that that power of God is just as tangible. So, I want to talk to you today so that you won't lack the opportunity. You will know what God is doing in Thailand, and you'll want to be a part of that as well, especially in your praying for us. Let me tell you a couple of stories. First story starts with our household helper. She is a pioneer of faith. She's not been a Christian very long, maybe 5 years. She and her husband moved to our house. They were not Christian. They came directly from the slum area where they were living to our house with a couple paper bags in the back of the taxi. I kid you not. The first Sunday, we hadn't really thought about them, to tell you the truth. Kind of embarrassing. We hadn't really thought about them. We went out to get in the car to go to church, and they were standing there. This is the truth. They were standing there saying, we're going to go to church today, aren't we? And we said, well, okay, if you want to. So they went to church with us. You remember them coming to church, John Warrington? About the 5th Sunday, we were on the way home from church. 4 of us together. We are family. They live with us, or sometimes I think we live with them. But about the 5th or 6th Sunday, they said, we're ready. We said, ready for what? Well, we're ready to believe and become Christians. Said, okay. So we sat down at the kitchen table and explained the plan of salvation, how Christ had died for them, how He'd taken His sin upon them and went to the cross. And on the 3rd day, He rose again, signifying the power of God in the world. They accepted Christ. And they have been on an uphill trajectory ever since. Ajahn Washington talked about the fact that we go back, we're going to go to northeast Thailand, which is where we hope our 3rd church plant will be, for this church, that is. Noi's village, Noi's our household helper. Her village is in the northeast of Thailand. We love to go there. It's in the rice fields, and it's just good country people. We've been there. Well, this past Christmas was the 3rd time we were there. We took some of the shoe boxes that come from Samaritan's Parish, you know those, and the Operation Christmas Child, and we went out there to her village. We had a Thai worship team, and we gave out the Christmas gifts, every man and woman and child who